So I just did a video on the effect of Justice Kennedy's retirement on the effect of the 2018 Senate elections. Now we're going to look at the governor elections. Typically, I would focus on the House and the Senate, but now we're talking about the governor elections because of the fact that this is something that's going to be definitely impacting statewide laws and regulations, and overall, the fact that many states go to the Supreme Court for a number of issues, this is going to be something that directly impacts these governor elections. And after recent primaries in a number of the states, including my own, we're going to see a little bit of a shift towards the Democratic Party. And that's mainly because they're going to see new candidates, and they're going to have people who are focused on changing their state in the Democratic Party's favor, and the Supreme Court may be the first to shoot that down. If we go to a state like Michigan, which could have a Democratic governor, they're not going to have a Democratic majority in the state legislature. Or if we go over to Wisconsin, same thing. So again, that's going to be something that's going to be extremely important for Democratic candidates to focus on the Supreme Court. Although it may seem like it only affects national issues, it affects statewide issues as well. And it's going to be something that's going to be repeated by a number of Democratic Senate candidates. So to start off, I haven't really changed the map from what the 270 to win toss-ups and rating states are. So we know states like Idaho are going red and states like California are going blue. You really shouldn't make an argument for California. That one's not going red anytime soon. But we have 18 Democrats and 26 Republicans. So Republicans clearly are still in the majority, but there are a few states that are currently leaning in the favor of the Republicans, which I'm going to change up. So my home state of Maryland, as much as I do not like flipping a state that's been called by multiple political pundits, I'm going to put Maryland in the Democratic column. Now, my reasoning behind that is we've come extremely partisan with this whole new thing that happened in Annapolis yesterday. Again, I'm going to make a video on that, addressing a little bit later today. That's something that was going to be repeated by Democrats. Whether or not it's going to be talking about gun control, it's going to be focused on the polarization of America and the media and how the president is dividing the country. I know the Maryland Democratic Party pretty well, and that's going to be not just Maryland Democrats. I mean, Democrats around the country are going to be focusing on that. But Maryland right now, with nominating someone who is backed by Bernie Sanders, who I thought had no chance of winning the Democratic primary, goes ahead and wins it. We're going to see a little bit of a shift towards the Democrats. In a state like this, yes, my governor is the second most popular governor, but the polling data shows him narrowly above 50%. I think that's enough to push him over the top, but this new candidate could possibly change everything, along with something hitting so close to home to the state of Maryland. Again, something that's going to be talked about a lot. So Connecticut I also see as leaning Democratic right now, very narrowly. And then we go up to New Hampshire. You know, that one's probably going to be a pure toss-up, but I'm going to leave that one in the GOP column. Massachusetts, I no longer see as safe red. I see it as likely red, along with Vermont. But it doesn't change much. Going down to Florida, I actually see this one as leaning Democratic, with the whole thing in Parkland and then a whole lot of things happening. Now, we see a little bit more of a Democratic push, especially with a GOP governor retiring. It's time. I mean, party fatigue will definitely kick in. It's going to be time for the Democrats and Republicans they'll probably switch up their voting. And if they do elect Rick Scott to the Senate, they're probably not going to elect a Republican governor at the same time in a Democratic wave year. The only exception would be the Senate because of Rick Scott's popularity, and even then, it may not be so likely. So 21 Democrats, 25 Republicans. New Mexico, I'll probably see getting a little bit more darker in the blue shade, along with Colorado, especially with that new candidate on the Democratic side, which is going to be something that helps them, and especially in a state like Colorado, which is pretty liberal on its own. In Alaska, right now, with the incumbent governor running against the former senator probably will win the primary here for the governor election, considering the unpopularity of the incumbent governor, but then they won't really have the factor of the incumbency. So Alaska, I'm going to leave narrowly in the Republican column. Along with Ohio, I really don't see a possibility of that one going blue as of yet. Yes, the Democratic candidate is doing extremely well compared to what I expected, but again, I don't think it's enough to push it over the top in a state like Ohio. But Michigan, I see going blue. I see that one going blue by a little bit. Minnesota, I actually see going blue a little bit in a more darker of a shade. And, you know, Georgia, Texas, I see as likely red now, especially with the whole issue affecting the president and everything that just happened recently. It's going to be a little bit more of, yes, it will still be a red state, but probably from 10 to 15%, not 15% more. Or maybe 5 to 15%. That's probably what I consider likely as. And the final state to call is the state of Nevada. So that one is probably going to be, again, leaning Democratic, especially with the Democrat leading it in the polls right now and the voting records of it in 2016 and past election years. So right now we're going to see 23 Democratic composition in the National Governors Association and 27 Republicans. The only states that I really see have a possibility of changing right now are Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, Florida, Alaska, and Maryland. But the rest of them I'm pretty solid on with my predictions. So thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.